Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I'd like to just make my announcement before you start, because it's just going to be short. If it's the right time. Today is actually the installation anniversary of Sri Sri Radhagopi Vallabha in Boston, in the Commonwealth Avenue Temple. They were initiated this day, I believe 43 years ago. They have a small festival tonight at the temple, but Sunday is the major festival, major event. Starting Sunday at 4:30 will be bhajans. At 5 o'clock will be a lecture, and that'll be done by our guest speaker from Sharadas, who is a Prabhupada disciple. And at 6 o'clock is an arti. At 6:30 is an abhishek, and at 7:30 is prashada. So of course you're all welcome to come up to Boston and join us in that festivity. And that's it. Thank you very much. Well said.
ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा एवरीबॉडी कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I just request everyone to position yourself in a way that you can see the screen and at the same time your neck doesn't hurt you. Because trust me, you're going to be in this situation for next 1 hour at least. It's not that I'm a Hitler who doesn't let you move, but the things on the screen won't let you move. So if somebody has to hit to the washroom and things like that, take your breaks now itself. Once the movie starts, there are no intervals, right? Okay, so one small announcement before we start. It's always a good custom to put our cell phones on silent. We remain on silent and our cell phones also remain on silent, right? Well, let me check whether my phone is on silent. It is. So, a quick icebreaker session. I can see a couple of new faces. Welcome. What's your name? Roshan. How about you?
Ketki.
Ketki. Where are you all from? You're from Pune. Pune. I could understand by the way you said Ketki and not Ketki. Because Maharashtra, Mumbai. कुठे मुंबई मध्ये?
ठाणे.
कुठे ठाणे मध्ये?
तुळशीधाम, घोडबंदर रोड.
मी कुठे माहिती आहे?
कुठे?
लुईसवाडी.
ओ.
नितीन सिंगला?
ओ.
2 मिनिटं तिथे.
अरे वा.
Welcome. Welcome. We happen to be probably like 5-10 minutes apart the place where we belong to in Mumbai. We are from India, we are in Maharashtra, we are in Mumbai. In Mumbai we are in the same small town, and in the same small town we are like 10 minutes apart.
Oh, except for
Yeah, and it's such that then we don't meet and we travel all the way to Boston and Rhode Island and then we meet. Interesting how life unfolds, right? Where are you in Pune?
No, I used to stay in Pune. I belong to Aurangabad. Nice.
Welcome, another new family. Welcome. You're from Bangalore? Chennai. Welcome. You're Tamil based. Welcome. What's your name? What's your name?
My name is Siddharth.
Vidya.
I welcome all of you who were there last week and very happy to see new people. For the benefit of... yeah, you're also there. I didn't take your name, I'm sorry. You're also there.
Are you sure?
So a quick... a quick recap of what we did last time. I would like if people who were present last time just shoot different points. So it's good that you refresh your memory and I also refresh my memory. Yes, we did something like that. Better start on your own before I start pointing it out.
Okay, I'll take the first one.
Oh, go ahead.
Because I at least
That's
remember
always
one.
Yes, go ahead.
So, you tied a little pieces of history, that is like which we hear in our scriptures, like the different avatars, the Dasha-avatar, and he pointed out beautifully how they resemble to the current geography. Like what is the Vedic name of Australia? What is the Vedic name of Mauritius? What is the Vedic name of you mentioned Thailand? There were so many other, like all these stories that we hear. We sometimes feel that probably it is just some Indian piece, Indian story, and just restricted to the land of India, and maybe people outside might not even relate to it. But he tied that fact that actually it's a world history, and basically it's not a myth, it's a history.
Right. The difference between mythology and history is that mythology is something that's mythical, something that's fiction. British actually broke our backbone by doing that. That which is itihas or history, they named it as mythology. Even now when you go and ask for books on Ramayana, the librarian tells you the shelf onto the right, in the section of mythology. I get wild. That's history. And what Hitler did, well, that's in the history section. So we covered all of that. Yes. What else?
I think we covered a couple of Balkathas, couple of Kathas about Lord Krishna.
We spoke about Krishna. We spoke about the Leela of women on the back. This is a women pastime.
Shurpnaka.
We covered little about Shurpanaka and the main character in Putana. Okay.
Discussed about his birth basically.
We spoke about Krishna's birth because there was one boy here, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Namdev.
Namdev. Right. I think of him, I remember Tukaram because he was so much into Abhangas. Anyway, so this is the gist of what we covered. And from today onwards, we are going to start something called as the 7-day session. Of course, because we are all busy in our own life, so that each day is going to be 1 week. We're going to meet once a week for 7 weeks. And we're going to cover 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita in 7 days. Seems impossible, right? I talk to people about this and they say, 7 days? Is there some even short? I said, 18 chapters I'm condensing in 7 days, you still want shortcut? It's not possible. Because if you try condensing even more, you're going to lose an important point. Do we want to lose an important point and condense it? Or do we want to give importance to all the important points and still keep it the same? 7 days, complete justice. You will have a very nice overview of what each chapter talks about, why it is important, etc. We spoke about the importance of Bhagavad Gita. Why is it relevant in practical life? Matra Mandali at the back.
Yeah.
Why? Why is Bhagavad Gita relevant? And how is it relevant? Why is it important?
Our vision towards life changes.
Our vision towards life changes. Okay. What else?
And then we had the acronym, what changes? The word changes.
Oh yes.
We said, Mataji, as she said, our vision changes, right? By reading Bhagavad Gita, our vision changes. And then what was the acronym?
I'll say that. You know.
Chanting.
Okay, C for chanting. Changes, okay? We have to get in changes in our consciousness. So that itself is a solution. That itself is an acronym. C for chanting the names of God. Every faith has its own chanting, right? They call out different names, but the process of chanting is always there. What else? What's H?
Hearing.
Okay.
And
Hearing about the Lord. Y'all are done for the day. I mean, at least done in this segment.
Yeah.
Right? C for chanting the names of God. H for hearing the glories of the Lord. What is A? You do that in proper association. If you have to excel in life in a certain aspect, you always associate with people who are like-minded. If you associate with somebody who's detrimental to your progress, you will never make advance. Any example. Somebody who's really ambitious, you associate with him, you become ambitious. Somebody who's a loser, you associate with him, you become a loser. So A is association. N is what? Keeping away the negatives. You always have to be positive in life, right? Negative thoughts will come, negative vibes would come, negative situations would come, negative words would come, but we always throw them out. What is the G? We chant, we hear in proper association and keep away the negatives under the guidance of a proper G, Guru. Gu shabdastu andhakara syat, ru shabdhat tama nirodhaka, andhakara nirodhitva guru iti abhidhiyate. The definition of guru is he who actually identifies the darkness in your life and removes it. Not somebody who grants you some money, blessing that you will, you will be a good thief. Do your duty, don't worry, you will be a good thief. That's not guru. Identifies the reason of the suffering of your life. What's the darkness, and he removes it. When you follow that path, you fill in the blank, happiness. You experience happiness, and when you experience happiness, you with others. Share it with others. So that's changes. We have to get changes in our life. How to do that? We're going to learn today. So welcome to this 7-day course on Bhagavad Gita, and of course this is the introductory session. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra by Krishna to Arjuna. Some striking facts which probably people are unaware about. Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses, of which around 580 verses were spoken by Krishna, right? Another 80-90 verses were spoken by Arjuna, and a few verses were spoken by Sanjaya. Who's Sanjaya?
Chariot of Dhritarashtra.
He
was a servant of Dhritarashtra, King Dhritarashtra.
The servant of Dhritarashtra. He was the assistant. And his guru was Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva actually blessed Sanjaya that he could sit anywhere and he could watch whatever is happening. Now these days we are sitting at home and watching a live India-Pakistan match in Sharjah. And we are excited. Wow. It's wonderful. The same thing, if this didn't exist and people tell you it's possible, you will think, no, it's not possible. Now good that we have televisions that we can think, if we can see through the televisions, can't Sanjaya see? And that too wireless. Wireless transmission. He had all of that, right? So Sanjaya spoke many verses and Dhritarashtra just spoke one verse. The first verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. That's all Dhritarashtra spoke. He asked a question that Pandavas and Kauravas assembled, what did they do? And in answer you have the breakdown. Another striking fact is that Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita how many days? Okay, how long was the battlefield?
14 days.
The battle?
14 days.
14?
Little longer. 18 days. You're close, no problem. There was one time I was speaking this and one person said 3 days. I asked him why. He said, that's how long I and my wife fight. So I estimate 18 days. So how many days out of that 18 days did Krishna speak the Bhagavad Gita?
Just 45 minutes or so.
45 minutes.
I had something somewhere like that.
Any other answers?
I think maybe 1 day.
1 day, okay. That seems little practical because there are people who read the whole Bhagavad Gita in 1 day, so it's possible. Any more answers? Shoot, you're not going to be wrong. Shoot. 7 days out of 18. Now that's long. Less than a day. Day or less than a day. If we can do it in a day, Krishna has done it.
Because after that they started fighting, right?
They
So
also started fighting, yes.
You'd have spoken within a day.
Right. So if Krishna spoke for 7 days, they have only 11 days to fight. I will speak, you fight. Alright, let me finish first, then you fight. Yes. Any other answers? How quick was Krishna? 1 day, okay. That's already taken.
Yeah.
Copyrights. My hint is less than a day. So how many hours was there? How many hours did...
4.
4 hours, okay. Anybody else?
6.
6 hours, okay. 4 is close. Think of something lesser
We'll
than
keep
that.
hitting the dart, we'll hit it finally.
3.
I want to see who hits it.
7.
3.
He said
3.
less than 4.
Okay, 3. I'll tell you something. That this devotee was so close. Krishna spoke 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita in 48 minutes. He said 45 minutes. I was like, wow. And I couldn't take it in the first go. So I said, let's keep going it on for some time, I'm not used to such answers. People say, 18 by 17 days, Krishna spoke 1 day, they fought. Bullseye. Krishna was really very fast. Now, does that mean he just flipped through everything? Were there human errors? No, because Krishna wasn't here. And the whole conversation went really fast because they spoke in Sanskrit. Krishna spoke, Arjuna asked, Krishna replied. And in that there were conversations even on the mental platform. Krishna was playing on the psychic level. Many verses you would find, he starts up saying something and Arjuna starts thinking something else and Krishna to answer that says the remaining two lines. I'll tell you as we cover. It is mind blowing. Krishna says, Buddhir buddhir matamasmi tejas tejas vinama. Welcome.
Have a doubt.
Yes.
They were speaking on the battlefield, right?
Uh-huh.
Were the others so only Arjuna heard that, right? Were the others not present there? They didn't interfere with them.
So others
Didn't interfere with them speaking together. Arjuna and
This
Krishna,
was the time before the actual time of the battlefield. Like for example, if the exam starts at 3 o'clock and you reach the center at 1 o'clock, you still have those 2 hours to prepare, right? The last minute. So that was happening. They didn't have the concept of coming in late. Like us, our exam is like 3 o'clock. Jayega 4 baje aaram se. Darshan dega. We'll go aaram se. But they weren't like that. Very proper, proper kshatriyas. So they went in early to set up everything, and that's when Arjuna saw everybody was loading stuff and said, "Arey baap re, they're all standing in front of me. What to do?" So it was just before the battle actually started. And it is also believed that those who were fit enough or eligible, they could actually hear what the conversation was. Because it is not about the actual hearing, it is about our inquisitiveness and the curiosity. If you really want to hear something, even amidst the noise you will hear. And if you don't want to hear something, however silent it is, you won't hear it. That's a fact, practically. So there were a few, like Bhishma, who really heard it. Dronacharya, they heard it. But those who were Dushasan, Duryodhan in their own world. Yudhishthir Maharaj was such a dharmic person. The name of Duryodhan also, he didn't call him Duryodhan. Vedavyas describes, he used to call him Suyodhan. Duryodhan means he who misuses his fighting spirit. Yodha or Yuddha means fighting. Duryodhan, he who misuses his fighting spirit. Yudhishthir Maharaj was so perfect, he could never see anybody in a bad light. He called him Suyodhan. Such a nice fighter. Right? So we're going to discuss all of that. Let's take a plunge into what the session has today. So the first and foremost thing is that every living entity has this inquisitiveness, fundamental inquisitiveness. The dog thinks, where will I get my food? Is it there in the dustbin? Somebody throws a biscuit. Is it tasty? All questions, especially humans, we have more questions. We in fact have more than required questions. Who did what, why, how, who ran away with whom, where there is an affair going on, which family is broken. People gossip. People love to gossip. The fundamental root of all of that is inquisitiveness. You want to know, right? Even in schools, we send children and they learn why and how through inquisitiveness. Everything is through inquisitiveness. Even parents teach through inquisitiveness. You shouldn't do there, because if you go there, this will happen. Samajh gaya, I understood, right? In this human form, this inquisitiveness is really sharpened. Our questions are way more sophisticated, or rather supposed to be more sophisticated than the animals. Because if you see the division, it is believed that there are 8.4 million species or 84 lakh species of life. And the verse comes from the Padma Purana. Jalajanava lakshani sthavara lakshavimshati krimaya rudra sankhya pakshinam dashalakshanam trim lakshane pashava chatur lakshani manava, or manusha. So Jalaja means those who live in water, or aquatics. There are 9 lakh. Trees and plants 20 lakh. Insects, reptiles 11 lakh. Birds 10 lakh. Beasts 30 lakh. And man 4 lakh. Small point, this is not the population. Don't think this is the population. This is the types of different species. Like for example, when you talk about beasts to be 30 lakh, it's not that the total population of all the beasts is 30 lakh. But among the beasts, different types. Dogs. Among dogs, different types. Right? If you see National Geographic or you see Animal Planet, you actually get a sense of all this. Welcome. We actually have a sense of all of this. I was once seeing this underwater stuff that they were showing. And amazing, amazing aquatics. You know, I didn't even know these exist. Something looks like this, but is actually like this. So much of variety. I was thinking, wow. You know, and if you see even modern science, they come very close to this number. Of course, there are many more species that science has to still get into, you know, at depth, but they come very close to this number. So the pickup point of this small graph is that you find a lot of variety, but the least is human beings. 4 lakh. Again, not the population, but types. Now, what do you mean by types among human beings? Any guesses? What do you mean by types or species? Different types among human beings. Everybody's same, no?
Based on their habits or behavior?
Habits, behavior, cultural differences. It doesn't put anyone above and anyone below. It just says they're different. Differences. So it's like a pyramid, right? When you have a lot of animals at the bottom, then you have little more, then little, and finally on the top of the pyramid, the apex, you have humans. Now, what is the thing that actually keeps the humans on the top or so rare? It's this. There are things which are common among animals and humans, and there are things which are different. Now, these are the 4 things which are common that you find in animals, you find among birds, you find among insects. Wherever there is life, you will find these 4 things, including human beings. Think about this. Dog eats, we eat. Dog sleeps, we sleep. Now you might say, well, you know, we eat better than the dogs. Yeah, I'm not talking about who eats better, but the propensity to eat, the propensity to sleep, the propensity to mate, and the propensity to defend. These 4 things you will find everywhere wherever there is life. Think about any example. Any animal, any insect, any bird. There was a video that I was seeing on Facebook where there was a snake which tried to get into the nest of a bird. There were small children, and there was a mother who was guarding it. The mother just looked somewhere else and the snake tried to get in, and the mother was like really defending. I was thinking, wow, this propensity of taking care of your loved ones, defending for them, finding food, sleeping, mating and having a family is there everywhere. Because these 4 things are common in wherever there is life. Now, how do we know this is common? Scriptures. Ahara nidra bhaya maitunam cha samanyam etat pashubhi naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi. Ahara, nidra, bhaya and maituna. Eating, sleeping, mating and defending. Samanyam etat pashubhi naranam. Among nara and pashu, this is common. What is the thing that makes us extra smart? Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi. It is dharma which actually makes you a human. Not 2 hands and 2 legs. 2 hands and 2 legs kya hai? Monkeys also stand. Bear also stands. Not a big thing. Wearing clothes, not a big thing. There are people who walk naked also. What's the thing which differentiates? Not our body, but the way we lead our life. Right? So we find that the basic necessities are there among animals also. Human should have them along with higher principles in life. It's again not a point that we should give up eating, give up sleeping, give up mating and give up defending. You have to do that, plus the extra principles. So the uniqueness of a human being is this developed intelligence. What is the intelligence used for? You always find inquisitiveness that we started our discussion with. In modern science, it always deals with 2 things. It always deals with 2 things. Physics, which means how the world started, who saw this, how the planets float, how gravitation works. And in biology, how life started, what is cell, what is cloning, can life come from matter or does life come from life? These are things that scientists think about. But there's a flaw. There's somewhere where we are going wrong. People oftentimes say that scientific knowledge is everything. Well, we accept it is really strong. But there's a thing that we miss. Scientific knowledge is pretty much dependent on our sense perception. Things that you can see, good, they exist. How about things that you can't see? Well, we can't say where they don't exist. Think about microbes, right? Think about the biggest things that you can see. Our eyes have a range. Anything that falls in that range, you see. things below that range and above that range, even if they exist, you can't see. Hearing, ultrasonic sound, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Anything that falls in this frequency, we hear. We hear. I can't have any vibrations beyond that. If anything comes beyond, on both sides, we can't hear. Bats can hear. Bats can hear. Think about the sniffer dogs. If we were taken to the airport, that you sniff and say whether there are bombs, what we will say? We will keep sniffing and the bomb will blast. You know. But the sniffer dogs can. They sniff and say, they bark. They say there's a bomb here. So just because we can't smell something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. In the case of bats, since because we can't hear something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Look about seeing. The vultures and the eagles, they fly really high. And they can see their prey from that distance. For us, reading this, we need glasses. This distance. Reading glasses, and after, you know, myopia, presbyopia, and God knows what not. We have all these conditions. But animals can. The vulture or the eagle which is flying can see. So just because we don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. People oftentimes give this argument. God doesn't exist because if he existed, I could have seen him. Well, air also you can't see. You can just feel it. Right? There are so many things. So just because our senses don't catch something doesn't mean the things don't exist. We have to be humble to know that our senses also have limitations. Look at this. Look at these examples in the mirror. How many of you all have seen such mirrors in malls and things like that? Nobody has seen it. Oh, you have seen. Thank God. Everybody is looking, what mirror is this? I have never seen it. You know? How many of you all know what that condition is? Put a straw into a glass of water and you actually see the straw bent. What is this condition called?
Refraction.
Diffraction. Does it mean the straw is actually bent? It seems like that. Does it actually indicate that the person is so weird as he looks in the mirror? No. It just seems like that. It just shows how insignificant our senses are. Look at this. The same thing that I was talking about. The eyes are blind beyond a range, the ears are deaf beyond a range. Now I have some activity for you all. How many of you all are ready? I want to see how many of you all have good eyes. How many of you all have good eyes? अच्छा लगता है, no? I have good eyes.
Specs allowed?
सब allowed. Telescope, microscope, you use everything. How many of you all are confident? You're going to do good? Come on. Confidence. I'm not going to ask you for money for your confidence. Come on. That's it? That's good. I can see her hand really going. Most of us are like, you know, it's neither down nor up. Okay? So, are you all ready for the next activity? Let's take it one by one. Look at the first one. What do you see?
Faces.
3 black sockets. What do you see? 3 black. Yeah? Madam at the back, what do you see?
Black, I'm seeing one triangle, white triangle.
Oh, amidst the black you see a white triangle?
Yeah.
How many of you all can see a white triangle? How many of you can?
I mean, I can see by imagining. It's not clearly out there. So.
Okay. So now it depends on what we focus on. Look at this. If you focus on the black, just think about the black. The world is black, I like black. You know, that concept. You look at the black, you see? You see that? Now, forget about all the black. Just look at the white. There's a line which goes like this. There's a line which goes like this. There's a line which goes like this. Now you can see? Yes? So which is true? Is the black true or is the white true? Is there a triangle or are there 3 open black?
Both are.
Both are true, right? So if I just look at the black and I say, this is all it is, there's nothing else. Am I right? Partial. You know, that's what happens. Most of the time our senses deceive us. We just see something and we are so egoistic. Whatever I see is correct. Whatever I don't doesn't exist. Now I saw how it was like, you know, interesting. This is really interesting. Now let's get to this. I want the women to really take care of this. It's really nice. I want the men to shoot, and I want the women, especially their wives, to see what they are picking. Think about this. Prabhu in the green t-shirt. What do you see here? What do you see here?
It's old lady or young woman.
Yeah, no, you're reading here, not that. What do you see here?
In the picture.
In the picture, what do you see?
Should be old woman.
Old woman, okay. Who's your wife?
Playing safe.
Playing safe.
He's yeah, you get it, right? At the back, yes. What do you see here? You, yes, what do you see?
No, I don't see either.
That's because you're you and your husband, or whoever wants to. You want to pick?
I see a young woman looking.
Yeah.
He can see a young woman. I see.
She's looking that way.
Okay. What do you see?
Yeah, and a young woman and also.
दिख रहा है?
You're open-hearted. Whoever comes my way, I'm fine. Young to young, nahi to old. Right. One last. Yes. Whom do you see?
I'm not able to get in.
You're not able to see either of them?
No.
You're brahmachari, I think. Okay. So now, who wants to tell me where you find the old lady? Yes.
The black portion on the top is the
Uh-huh.
hair,
Okay.
and that is the nose coming
Okay.
down,
Uh-huh.
and then the lips,
Uh-huh.
and then the chin.
Okay. So that's the old lady.
That's the old lady.
Okay. The hair. Is this the hair?
Or you can say something
I thought
on
you said the old
forehead.
lady.
Yeah, something on the forehead.
Okay. This is the.
This is the hair,
Hair?
white hair.
This is like a scarf. Here.
Yeah, it's something on the head. Yeah,
Big nose,
yeah, big nose
mouth, and a long chin.
and a long chin.
Oh, I see it now.
That's the old lady. Yes? Now who's going to explain the young lady? No, somebody else.
That black hair now.
You want to explain where the young lady, young woman is?
Yeah, the black hair,
So now the black hair,
small nose, and I think eyebrows.
small nose, that's the eyelashes.
Yeah, eyelashes just above.
Eyelashes, that's the chin,
Yeah.
and she's looking that way. And now, this is the black hair and that's the scarf. For the old lady, that's the hair, this is the scarf.
Yeah.
Can everybody see?
Okay.
These are called as optical illusions. The same picture flips. They also call it hypocritic. One person sees it like this, immediately it flips to a different picture. Look at this. It's much easier now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you see? What do you see here?
Yes. What is
Trophy.
You see, he's a winner. He sees a black trophy. Okay, so if you focus on the black, you see a nice cup. Right? And if you focus on the white, you see two human faces.
Yeah.
And the last for the day. What do you, count the number of legs. How many legs does this elephant have?
Just keeps on going.
What?
It just keeps on going. Maybe 8 or 10.
8. Okay. How many legs does this elephant have?
It's having 8. It's look like 8. 8 legs.
8.
I'm
Elephant
counting.
having 8 legs is difficult.
Yeah.
You say 4.
4.
Okay. 6. Wow, I just love this elephant. How many?
I see 6.
6. Okay. Yes. Seems like a auto rickshaw to me. Yes. How many legs do you see?
नहीं
the
actually
elephant?
दिक्कत नहीं करना
I see 4.
4. Okay. Now let's count how many legs the elephant has. Who wants to count? Yes.
I can see 3, but the fourth one is not attached properly.
Well, this is tricky.
So I'm just going by the foot, the complete foot. If I'm counting the complete foot, 3 are attaching to body. The fourth one is just
Okay.
going in his mouth.
So if you see, so I just wanted to play with you all. So if you actually see from the body, you have 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. You see that? But the problem is, what we have done is we have put the end part of the legs to the gap between the 2 legitimate legs. So if this is the leg, this is the gap, we have put 1 elephant foot here. And then if this is the leg, and this is the other leg, the gap we have put. So It seems 4 when you look here, but when you try looking, you have different numbers. So I love the selfie. So what's the moral out of this? What's the point we are discussing? What am I making out of this?
Every person sees an object in a different manner, so
Okay.
different vision, different.
Different person, different vision. Any other morals out of this optical illusion with respect to whatever we were discussing?
Imperfect senses.
Imperfect senses. Don't trust the eyes. Doesn't mean that all that you see doesn't exist. But if there are things which you can't see, don't rule it out, saying that they don't exist. So now look at the knowledge which exists beyond sense perception. Think about mind. How many of us have minds? I am going to assume that all those who don't put their hands up don't think. They have no minds. How many of us have it? How many of us have seen mind? Bolo. Where did you have that divine?
Hopefully, Gulili.
Well, that's what do you call? That's
Brain.
like a. Yeah, I mean it's like the symptom, right? You know, if there's somebody intelligent, you know that there's a mind and he thinks and things like that. And how many of us have actually seen it or heard it or touched it or smelled it or tasted it? No, that's right. You can. Those are things beyond sense perception. So is consciousness. So is life. Life, you know, I'm not talking about body, I'm not talking about health. Life. If you just say life, the symptom is you're going to walk, you're going to breathe, etc. But life, touching life, hearing life, not possible. So these are things which exist, but you can't see. The Vedas talk about everything. It's not just Divya Gyan. Knowledge about God is also there. Knowledge about, in general, all these topics are also there. Like for example, I'll give you a small piece from the Vedas which all of us can follow. There's a small section in the Vedas for healthy lifestyle called as Ayurveda. Because Ayu means life and Veda means knowledge. Knowledge about increasing your life is Ayurveda. Now Ayurveda talks about, there is a very great saint who has put a lot of research into the Vedas by the name Bhagavad. He's put over 7,000 rules in the Vedas, of which I'll tell you 2-3 which are very practical, right? Very practical, which modern day science also believes. The first and foremost is that never drink water immediately after a meal. As soon as you have a heavy meal, never drink water. Why? As soon as you put food into your stomach, the fire of digestion starts. And now you know when you throw water, what's going to happen to that fire? Extinguished. Now if that fire is extinguished, what happens to the food? Undigested. Now it's going to be in your body and going to get stale. And anything that gets stale invites diseases. Bhagavata says never drink water. Drink water 1 hour after your meal. How about during the meal? No. How about before the meal? Half an hour before chalna. During that chunk, don't. Let your food act. Another point, which modern people we make a mess of. Ayurveda says always eat with your hand. Anybody knows why? The sense of touch is so superbly designed by the Supreme Lord. As soon as you touch food, it gives a sense to your intestine or your stomach, expect. Now it's coming.
Wow.
Have you seen? Till the time you don't touch food or you don't get very close to food, your mouth doesn't water. As soon as you touch something and now you don't eat, your mouth starts watering. Because the body's mechanism starts getting to know, now food is coming, get ready. Everything starts working. Now when you use a spoon, which is not wrong, you put food into the mouth, it doesn't know that food is going to come. After the first morsel, it starts working. Right? So that's the first principle. Second principle, never drink cold water. Never. Never drink cold water. Why? When you drink cold water, your stomach becomes cold. You know, when you keep something hot and something cold close to each other, either the cold becomes hot or the hot becomes cold. Invariably, because of the amount of water that we drink and the heat that it has, which is really low, which is cold, everything inside becomes really cold. Now, to keep the body temperature intact, the heart has to pump double to keep the temperature, or else the temperature will start dropping.
And this again retards our digestion. So he says don't. How about cold during summer? Little quantity is okay to keep the temperature intact, but not the way we drink. Third principle, never drink water the way we do. Kadak, 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 kadak karke throat se. We all do that, right? Bhagavata says don't do it. Why? How should we drink it? Look at how animals drink water. Look at how birds drink water. मुंह में डालते हैं, घूट घूट के पीते हैं. You see the birds. They चोंच मारेंगे, they'll put into their beak, take a little, then take. Next, then right. We fools think that hey, they have a small beak, therefore they're doing it. It's all a science. Our human saliva is magic. We are never taught all this, no? Very interesting. All this is there in the Vedas. Huh? I can tell you the reference also. Our human saliva is magic. It has ingredients which can cure anything. Think about the times when we had cuts and wounds inside our mouth. How long does it take to heal? The same wounds and cuts on our hand or leg takes a long time. The wounds in our mouth are, they heal even without leaving scars or marks inside. We might have, really bad problems inside, but there are no scars, no marks when you look into the mirror. Why? The magic of the saliva. Now when you drink water through the throat, what's happening is that you're missing that opportunity of that saliva mixing with that water and getting into your stomach. Ghoot ghoot ke jab peete hai na, sip by sip, as if we are drinking hot milk. How we drink? If we drink like that, the saliva in the mouth mixes with that water and cures the cuts, burns and injuries inside. Half the diseases are gone. And most importantly, as soon as we wake up, we should drink a lot of water. Most of us know this, and they call it the Japanese technique. It is there in the Vedas. It is the Japanese who got it to the world. Do this. Japanese technique. It is there. अपने books में सब है, छोड़ के हम बाकी दुनिया देखते हैं. The technique is, as soon as you wake up, drink lots of water. Two advantages. One, the saliva in the mouth is concentrated because of overnight silence. Now when you drink good ke, that saliva mixes with the water and you give it an opportunity to cure inside. And most importantly, because of overnight fasting, there are a lot of toxins and acids inside. Now when you drink a lot of water, those acids are flushed out. Interesting? Yes.
I also heard from the other way around, spit the saliva and then drink water.
I mean, probably there are many other ways of doing it.
Okay.
But I'm just giving you examples of how the Vedas have everything, including modern health. So we have all of that, including the spiritual topics. So Veda basically means knowledge, and it's a vast body. The first sutra of the Vedanta Sutra is Athato Brahma Jitnyasa. Now one should inquire about Brahman. Brahman means God. Now means what? What does now mean? Now that you have intelligence, inquire about God. Now that you have got this most priceless human form, think about God. Now that you are so fortunate, think about God. Or inquire. What is the inquiry? This is the inquiry. Our education system teaches us everything except who we are. Don't you think it's so, surprising that we live all our life, and even when we are 75, somebody asks you who you are, we are baffled. Answer ही नहीं है वो question. We give our name. Is that actually you? That's a name given to you, but who are you? And if you are something, how are you related to God if God exists? What is the purpose of this world? Nobody thinks about it. Imagine being born, living in this world, leaving this world, and dying 70 years living in this body, thinking about, without thinking, why this world is created. What is the purpose? यहाँ आते क्यों हैं और कहाँ जाते हैं? If you are 30 years old, where were you 45 years ago? World existed, but where were you? Was it that you never existed? These are questions we are never taught. We are taught to cram our head. Learn what Hitler did. Learn what Aristotle did. Well, that's good. But start with the self. Be a little greedy. Before I analyze this, let me analyze myself. With what frame of reference am I analyzing this? Right? When you talk about something, I say this is bright. Bright with respect to what? With respect to the sun? No. With respect to darkness. So you know the frame of reference. Now I say this is something, that is something. With what frame of reference? Who am I? These are fundamental questions the Bhagavad Gita answers. Now as I said, the Vedas are revealed at the time of creation. They are called as the operation manual. How many of us have got electronic gadgets, purchased electronic gadgets? उसके साथ क्या आता है? What do you get along with the gadget? A manual?
Yeah.
What is the purpose of the manual?
How to operate.
Okay. So if I buy a gadget and I throw away the manual and I try operating on my own, what are the disadvantages?
Either we will last the gadget,
Okay.
or we can't use that.
Okay. Now the Vedas are the operation manual of this universe. If you throw away the manual and you try figuring out the device on your own, what happens? You get frustrated. Now I buy a cell phone and I never know how to use a cell phone. There's a manual which says, press this, do that. I just throw it away, don't regard it, I start fiddling with it. What happens? Two things. One, I might not discover things in it. Second, जो भी करता हूँ गलत करूँगा. Because I don't know how to use it. People end up living their lives without referring to the manual, the words of God, and then you get frustrated. I'm irritated, I'm frustrated, I have anxiety. अरे होगा ही. Manual फेंक दिया, you're trying to get to know how the gadget is working. Look into the manual, it talks about everything.
Question though. So as we say, like Vedas are manuals, but practically speaking, life doesn't allow us to get into the Vedas because of two things. Very first thing is the language of the Vedas, because we don't have the knowledge of. If I don't know language, if I never knew English, I wouldn't get a word of what he was speaking.
Exactly.
So I don't know Sanskrit, I cannot understand. And the second thing is, they are so huge and there are so many of them. Which one to refer?
Exactly.
And what is the guarantee I'm referring to the right Veda or something like that?
Correct. Both these questions, the answers are coming up. So I'll just hold it on. Right? One beautiful example that the Vedic statements are true. The Vedas say that stool is abominable. As soon as you touch stool, you have to take a bath. But it also says cow dung is pure. ये क्या contradiction हुआ? Cow dung is stool of cow, but you say that's impure. Now you're saying it's pure. No contradiction. Cow is such a perfect animal. Its dung and waste products are also good. That's a different discussion altogether. We'll have Gokatha. I will discuss all of that. How cow manure and cow dung, cow urine purify the body according to Ayurveda. Modern scientists and doctors, they actually analyzed cow dung and they found so many antiseptic properties. So many. To such an extent, in our villages, rural India, you will find they actually take cow dung and what do on the walls?
They almost paint the walls.
They almost paint it with cow dung because it keeps away everything. Keeps away snakes, keeps away mosquitoes, keeps away everything. And best advantage of cow dung when you put it on the walls is that when it's hot outside, it keeps the room cold. And when it's cold outside, it keeps the room hot. Which animal's dung does that? You can't even... Anyway, it gets a little gross, so I won't get into it. So the point is the Vedic statements are perfect. Some predictions that Bhavishya Puran makes. These personalities are predicted in the Vedas even before they manifested. ऐसा नहीं है कि आने के बाद लिखा उनका नाम. Even before they came, their names are predicted. Some people say Vedas मतलब Hindu, Christ, Prophet Muhammad, Buddha, person who initiated Buddhism, person who initiated Islam, and the person who initiated Christianity. They are also there in the Vedas. And it is so perfect. अभी तक जो भी define, जो भी predict किया, everything is perfect. So the things which are there for the future are also perfect. The Vedic statements are completely perfect. Why? Because they, according to the Shruti, they are emanations from the breathing of Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu's breathing, the Vedas manifest. Of course, they were written down by Vyasadeva. वो breathing से आया नहीं हमारे पास. Vyasadeva is Shakti Avesha incarnation, very powerful writer. So through the words of Mahavishnu, coming down in the Parampara, from Vishnu to Brahma, Brahma to Vyas, Narada, Narada to Vyas, Vyas to Shukadev, that's how we get it. As you were saying, the Vedas are really, very big, voluminous, deep. Therefore, Vyasadeva, he divided the Vedas. Ye Vyas, the word jo hai na, it is not his name. It is not his name. Vyasyate iti. He who divided the Vedas is Vyas. Vyas means division, according to mathematics. Vyas means division. So he divided what? Veda. Therefore he is called as Veda. Yes. His actual name is Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. He was born on a dweep, इसलिए Dvaipayan. वो कृष्ण ही थे इसलिए कृष्ण. Krishna, Dvaipayana and Veda Vyas. That was his name. So there were, originally it was Atharva Veda, which he divided into Rig, Yajur, Sama and Atharva. Now that was also not sufficient. He broke that into Puranas, Upapuranas, Upanishads, Aranyakas, Samhitas, Itihasas. It's always good to have a library where you have history books, geography books, mathematics books, than have a haphazard library. Mathematics ki tarah dhoonto geography mein. Geography. Mathematics. So he properly divided according to different titles. Therefore you have Chandogya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, Garga Samhita, Manu Samhita, Brahma Samhita, etc. Very voluminous. Now they have lots of stuff, and the Vedic, as I was saying, 4 Vedas, 108 Upanishads, 18 Puranas, Itihasas. Itihasa means history, Mahabharata, Ramayana and Vedanta Sutra. Now the best part, coming to your second point, the best part is you don't have to read everything. Shortcut. Listen to this shortcut. You don't have to read the whole Vedas. Sarvopanishado gavo dugda gopalanandana partho vatsa sudir bhokta dugda gita amritam. What is the essence of the cow? The milk. If the Vedas are the cow, Bhagavad Gita is the milk. Bhagavad Gita has all the important points from all the Vedas. Atharva, Rig, Sama, Yajur. Condensing it down to 700 verses is Bhagavad Gita. Interesting? You didn't know that. Well, I also didn't know that before I looked into this slide. So that's called the essence. And Krishna is the person who is milking the cow. So Krishna is actually milking the cow of the Vedas, giving the milk of the Gita and giving it to the first person who is Arjuna. Coming to Mahabharata, we know this very famous story of Kauravas and Pandavas. Who can describe this in short? What happened in this gambling match? Why was there a gambling match? B.R. Chopra should help you now. TV serial.
By hook or crook, Kauravas, they were so envious of Pandavas because they always feared that if these guys prosper, we are definitely going to lose our kingdom to them.
Okay. What were the other reasons for the gambling match? Thank you so much.
Sakri actually helped Duryodhana that if they call them for the match and if they lose everything, they can gain the kingdom, their kingdom too.
Okay. So what was the problem? Why was there a match? What was the problem?
Yudhishthir was basically a gambler. He used to love gambling.
Yudhishthir?
Yes, one of the Pandavas, I believe Yudhishthir. And he loved gambling, that's why he always used to sit with
No,
Shakti.
actually they wanted to take revenge on Pandavas, Kauravas. Because once Duryodhana was invited for the Yagam and he was actually humiliated there, so he wanted to take revenge of
Take revenge. Okay. You were saying something. Just continue.
Yeah, I mean that's
Oh, you
what
were
my
done with your
knowledge
point?
is. Yeah,
Okay. Anyone here? What are your points on why was there a match? Why was the enmity between Pandavas and Kauravas? What was the reason for enmity?
The throne, right?
Hastinapur.
Problem क्या है उसमें? क्या है मतलब? What is the actual root cause?
Greed of Kauravas.
Who's that? आकाशवाणी जैसे कहीं सुना. Greed of
Kauravas.
Kauravas. Okay. There was something about 5 kingdoms. I'm just remembering something. Something to kingdom. Yudhishthir of course, cutting the long story short, adding to all that you all said, he went to Duryodhan and finally said, if not the whole kingdom, give us 5 cities. He said, no, I won't give you 5 cities. Yeah, I won't give you. At least give me 5 villages. वो भी नहीं देगा, जाओ. Then finally, Duryodhan made a statement. I won't even give you all the place. I can see the... Yes, go ahead.
Equal to a needle also. I'll not give you that much space as.
I won't even give you that space which is occupied by the tip of a needle. Ghamand dekho. And the gambling match, what happened was, the Pandavas were sent to... Where were they sent to?
Exile.
Exile. For how many years?
13. 12 plus 1.
12 plus 1. 12 years to the forest. 1 year is called as Agyatwas or incognito. If they are caught in the 13th year, again 12 years. Now Duryodhana was confident. 12 years to theek hai, they will get into the forest. 13th year we'll catch him. We'll catch them. Because somebody who's very strong, somebody who keeps shooting, somebody who's truthful. Aaj log ko pakadne mein kya hai? These 5 people we can identify. Bhima, he can't hide. Body dekh ke we'll get to know he is Bhima. You know, so they can't hide. 13th year if you catch them, again 12 years. Now where did they hide in that 13th year?
Kingdom of Virat.
In the kingdom of Virat.
As what? How was Arjuna hiding?
He was lady. He became lady or something.
Yes, transgender.
Transgender. As what? What was Arjuna teaching?
Dance.
Dance. To whom?
The princess of that kingdom.
Virata's daughter. Alright. And what was Bhima doing?
Cooking.
Chef.
He was doing what he enjoys. He said, if not eating, I will cook. What were Nakul and Sahadev doing?
Bringing up the horses and cow.
And what was Yudhishthira doing?
I think he was a minister there, helping.
Prime
He became the
Minister of the king.
personal assistant to the king, so that he can entertain him and hear him.
He became the personal assistant, plus his side job was milking cows. He used to milk cows so that nobody catches him. Because he was so smart that even when he becomes a minister, by his words they'll get to know. He'll say, I won't lie. Yudhishthira. The time to time, you go and milk cows, so they won't have doubt. So they lived like that. So this gambling match, of course, Yudhishthir Maharaj lost everything. He lost his wealth, he lost his kingdom. Finally, he lost Draupadi. That's when Duryodhan, he actually, once Draupadi was lost, Duryodhan told Draupadi that you're a dasi, you should sit here. He signaled his lap or thigh and he said, sit here. And seeing that, Bhima took an oath. What was it?
I'll break that.
The thigh that you're confident that Draupadi should sit on, I will break that thigh in front of you. Bhima was very, dynamic, and he was proper Kshatriya. It is said there was a fight that Bhima had with 10,000 elephants and he beat all the elephants down single-handedly. Vayuputra after all. Vayuputra, as I was telling you, I don't know, what was this class? Some other class. Just mix up places. I was saying at one of these classes that Vayuputra is always very powerful.
Yeah.
Treta Yuga, Vayuputra was Hanuman. Dwapar Yuga, Vayuputra is Bhima. So very powerful. So Bhima, he said, I will break the thigh of Duryodhan. Dushasan, he was disrobing Draupadi. What was the oath that Duryodhan took, Bhima took?
I'll drink blood from your chest.
Because Draupadi, you know what she did? According to Indian culture, the lady never keeps her hair open. According to Vedic culture, not Indian culture, Vedic culture. She never keeps her hair open. Always ties it. To signify that she has somebody who can protect her. So, control na hai, bal. Control. Or she's protected. Now when Draupadi was almost disrobed like this, she removed that and she said, I'm going to keep my hair, untied. Till the time I don't wash my hair from the blood that comes from the chest of Dushasan, I will be untied. Bhima said, I'll do it. So actually during the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna could have defeated Dushasan. But he left for Bhima. He said, no, if I do, he won't be able to do it. So Bhima goes there, he hits Dushasan black and blue, breaks his ribs, opens them up, gets the blood from his chest, gives it to Draupadi. Draupadi washes, that was her shampoo. She washed her hair from the blood coming from the chest of Dushasan, just to see This rascal did that to me. Look what I'm doing. Not pair ka khoon, chhati ka khoon. Not blood from the legs, blood from the chest. And then once that was done, I was like, Shanti. So Bhima had taken a lot of such Drudavrata. So the Pandavas lost everything, and then finally, this was all that we discussed. And finally, Krishna tried to be the broker. He went here and there and he said, Are Karo, please you try adjusting. No, you try adjusting. Please you try adjusting. He went back and forth many times. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, Are, what will I do? I am just, in fact, no problem. I am fine with it. Bhima said, impossible. This Yudhishthira is crazy. He lost wealth, he lost kingdom, he lost our wife. Nothing. We want it. If there is something written in our will or in our destiny, we want it. And immediately he started removing his gada. Now if Duryodhan doesn't give me, I'm going to break his thigh, I'm going to break. Beto bhai, thoda shanti rakho. Drink some cold milk. So Krishna went back and forth, but nothing was happening. Then finally Krishna went to the place of Duryodhan, and there were a lot of discussions and nothing happened. Then Krishna announced the battle. He said, this is Dharma Yuddha. Now this Yuddha means Pandavas are fighting to get their share, nothing great. To things that they are actually supposed to get, they are not getting, so they are fighting. According to the scriptures, you can kill 6 kinds of people. Aggressors. Don't take this recording and give it to the Massachusetts police or Rhode Island police and things like that. I am just quoting the scriptures. There are 6 kinds of aggressors. I am not sure if I will be able to name all of them, but a few of them at least. One is a poison giver. Therefore, even in the Vedic culture, Vedic scriptures, you shouldn't kill anything except a scorpion or a snake, because both are poisonous. If they can take your life, you can take theirs without any karma. Don't use it out of hand and then, oh, this dog tried to kill me, I killed this dog. This man tried to kill me, he is my aggressor. Bhagavad Geeta class mein bola tha, isko marna hai, chala maar diya. Don't do all of that. The aggressor means it's just the fact that poison giver in this case. The second is anyone who sets your house on fire is an aggressor. Third, anyone who snatches away your wife in your presence, or in fact it's sexual exploitation in your presence, is your aggressor. Fourth, who swindles money is your aggressor. So if you actually see, the Kauravas did all of this. They gave poison. Where did they give poison? Anybody?
To Bhima.
They gave to Bhima.
Yeah.
You are scholar, you give others also a chance.
When Bhima was a small child, they gave him poison and sweet.
Right. Poison was given to Bhima. Bhima fortunately was saved. Then house was set on fire.
That's
You are also not turning a scholar. Wait. Yes, you were saying something.
Because there was a big palace and that was set on fire.
Wax palace, right? That was set ablaze. What did Krishna do? He gave them a way to escape. Then how about snatching wife? They actually did that in mid-assembly. They were actually disrobing her. How about snatching away wealth? Everything the Kauravas did. But Yudhishthira said, I won't kill them. Krishna said, actually on the basis of the scriptures you can. And he was quoting all of this. And this is the point that I was making. He wasn't willing to share anything, no 5 provinces, cities, villages. And he said the same thing that Mataji said. She's probably in the kitchen. Oh, she's here. The same thing, that land equivalent even to the head of the pin, I won't do. And then finally Krishna announced this Mahabharata, or this Kurukshetra battlefield, also called as Dharma Yuddha, where both armies were ready to fight, and Arjuna was unwilling. Why? Mr. Shashwat?
Because he thought that who am I going to kill? It's all my family, my loved ones, and what I'm doing it for.
Right. Any more reasons why Arjuna said not to fight?
He was brave, he was warrior, but he was also compassionate.
Okay, the
he
fact
had mercy.
that I can't kill my own people, the fact that I was compassionate because I don't want to see bloodshed. What are the other reasons?
He also had Guru Bhakti and Bhakti towards his elders, so
You already said.
yeah, respected them.
He already said that. Any more points? So what happens if he kills people? क्या होता है? अगर elders को मारा तो क्या होगा? What does Arjuna say? If I kill, what happens? I might get the kingdom, but I will never excuse myself because to get that kingdom, I actually killed my own people. Whom will I share the kingdom with? That was Arjuna's question. If I kill all of them, who will I share my kingdom with? And if I kill men, women will be unprotected, other people might attack, and there will be unwanted progeny. Jayate Varna Shankara. He said women will be unprotected, therefore I won't do it. Third reason, he said if seniors are killed, from whom we learn everything, we won't know anything, we won't do proper yajnas and samskaras, our forefathers will never get shraddha and they will fall down from heaven. Or, in fact, Pitra is a different, Pitra Loka is a different planet. But anyway, he said they will fall from different places. So I don't want to do that. So Arjuna became very hesitant to fight. That's when Krishna starts speaking the Bhagavad Geeta, which is the song of God. Bhagavat means Bhagavan and Gita means song.
So when you said Jayate Varna Shankara, that means more of the crossbreeds would be born?
Yes. Not just crossbreeds, he was worried of the fact that people who were, like if the Kshatriya women are unprotected, because the Kshatriya women used to be really beautiful, because they were worth the royal kingdom, they were worth the king. Now if people who are not worth it, they intermingle with such women, and children are born out of lust, not out of proper marriage or samskaras. People are born out of rape, for example. Arjuna was thinking the fact that women will be raped. I can't see this. An unwanted progeny will come up, and anyone who is born out of lust can never be happy, can never give happiness. Most of we find in the present generation, children are born because of mistakes. Both were drunk. And they come up with songs, Tu Galti Hai Meri. There are songs, Hindi songs. I was actually speaking this, and one person put up his hand and he sang that song to me. I said, I have never heard that song. He said some song where the father tells his child that, actually you're a mistake. You were not supposed to be born. We were drunk and you were born or something like that. So these days, nothing is planned. Happens. So anyone who's born in lust will never be happy. Krishna makes that point in Bhagavad Gita. So proper samskaras, garbhadhana samskara, proper planning, and when there is love from mother and father in having that child, then that child is brought up properly. If it is if it's a matter of lust, then the child never, because everything starts from the point of conceiving. It's not that the child comes up in this world and then you start nurturing. Everything starts from the point of conception. So anyway, so all of this is described, and this is exactly what Arjuna feared. He said women will be raped, so I can't, I won't be able to do it. And Krishna speaks the whole of Bhagavad Gita telling Arjuna, don't escape from your duty, do your duty. Don't worry. Right? If there is a soldier who fights a very nice battle and he kills the enemy, the government gives him medals. But the same soldier, if he comes onto the street with his gun and starts shooting people down, what happens to him? He's hanged. What is the difference? He's killing in both places. One case he's killing and he's getting a medal, the other case he's killing and he's being hanged. What's the difference?
Battlefield is his duty, so he has to do it.
The soldier is on the army front and then he's fighting, so that's his duty. How about killing on the street? That's out of his head. So if you represent the government and you do something, the government gives you medals. But if you do something of your own, right? So here Krishna was saying the fact that don't worry, you are representing me, go ahead. When Krishna is giving you thappa, go ahead, do it. So dharma is not what we think. Dharma is what Krishna ordains. Dharmanto sakshat bhagavat pranita. So this Bhagavad Gita, can somebody just quickly read this out to me? All the Upanishad is just like somebody. Maybe you can read this.
All the Upanishad is just like a cow, and Lord Krishna, who is famous as cowherd boy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all Upanishads.
This is the point I was making. You don't have to read all the Vedas. To read all the Vedas, we don't have enough time. So therefore take the essence. Don't get into so much of depth. Take a crash course book. हम लोग भगवद गीता के लिए crash course कर रहे हैं. Bhagavad Gita is the crash course for the Vedas. Somebody else? Maybe you can read.
Logically, if Krishna took out the milk and if Arjuna is calf, so did he absorb? He did not drink the milk. Milk is for devotees, right?
The calf drinks little. Arjuna heard the Bhagavad Gita and fought, and that milk is always there for all of us to enjoy. It's not a limited milk. The cow is giving milk, Krishna is taking it, first preference giving to its own calf. Tum chako, you take. And the calf drinks, works, and then that milk is forever for all of us. So we are also drinking still. That milk doesn't get over. Somebody else? You can read this.
There need be only one holy scripture, the divine Gita sung by Lord Krishna, only one worshipable Lord. Lord Krishna, only one mantra, his holy names and only one duty, devotional service unto that supreme worshipable Lord Krishna.
Don't think this is closed or narrow-minded. When you say there is only one holy scripture, the divine Gita, which means the song of God. The faith that you are believing in, you absorb that scripture. One supreme personality, Godhead, Sri Krishna, his holy names, and the only duty is service to God. Right? So this comes from the Gita Mahatmya. Now the natural question is, there are so many editions of the Bhagavad Gita, kya pade? English ka bhi aayega. So many editions of the Bhagavad Gita, 500 editions. Last time did I tell you all? Different editions of the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham ridhi sannivishto mattasya jnanam apohanam cha. So there are different editions, of the Bhagavad Gita. And in fact, I was telling that person who told me that yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajyatante kalevaram. I was discussing this verse and he said, Krishna is telling us to eat ice cream, yum yum. Yum Yum was a brand of ice cream. He said, Yum Yum, Krishna is telling us to eat ice cream. I said, Krishna is not telling us to eat ice cream, because if he had to even say ice cream in Sanskrit, that will be a verse. Ice cream, the word in Sanskrit, is Dugdham Shakarayukta Hema Ghanagola Gattu. This is ice cream in Sanskrit. The word describes the process also. Dugdham means milk, Shakara means sugar, etc. Dugdham Shakara Yukta Hema Ghana Gola Gattu is ice cream. So if you had to tell somebody in Sanskrit that I want ice cream, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Right? So there are different editions of the Bhagavad Gita. I have a question. There is a person who's PhD in Spanish, and there is a person, and the same person is PhD in English, and the same person is PhD in computer science. Right? Can he translate a book from Spanish to English about computers? He's PhD in all three.
Yes, technically yes.
If there is a person who's PhD in Spanish, PhD in English, but not PhD in computers, can he translate a book on computers from Spanish to English?
He can, but it will not be so good. He can, but
Not accurate.
Not accurate. Because if there is a word called hard disk, he will look for the Spanish word for hard and Spanish word for disk and get them together, instead of knowing what hard disk means according to technical language. So just because somebody is a PhD in Sanskrit and PhD in English, that doesn't qualify them to translate the Bhagavad Gita. You have to have technical knowledge. Just like you need a person to also know computers, only a person who knows the Gita can translate. So the translation of the Bhagavad Gita is actually a subject matter which is transmitted from Guru to disciple. I'm sorry for the resolution, it just comes up. So the Bhagavad Gita says that this supreme science has to be received from Guru to disciple, and but with passing time it was broken, and therefore Krishna is again giving it. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsayo vidu sa kala nehe mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Therefore, all these points of the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada, he actually translated, because Srila Prabhupada was a pure devotee who comes in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. He had in-depth knowledge of Sanskrit and also was learned in English because he was in a British school. So he comes in a very beautiful disciplic succession starting from Krishna. First is Krishna. Krishna gave knowledge to Brahma. The knowledge came down to Narada. to Vyasa, to Madhva, Padmanabha, Narahari. Karte, 22nd, you find Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who has not heard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Or Sri Chaitanya, the great saint from West Bengal? Everybody has heard? You haven't heard? So you also haven't heard? Okay. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known, is very popular as the great saint from West Bengal. But the scriptures actually describe that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Radha and Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha और Krishna nahi anya. Radha और Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu से अभिन्न है. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in this sampradaya. It started from Brahma, so therefore it is called as Brahma Sampradaya. You have Madhva there, 8, so it is called as 5. So it is Brahma, Madhva, and then because it is Mahaprabhu is called as Gauranga, the sampradaya is called as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And in that sampradaya, the 32nd name is Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON. So the Bhagavad Gita as it is, it talks about the same thing that Krishna spoke as understood by Arjuna. And there are 5 subject matters about Bhagavad Gita. And these 5 subject matters will be 5 days of discussion from now on. Thank you very much. So 2 minutes for any questions or comments. This was just like the introduction of what we are going to do. So the 5 subject matters that we spoke about, we're going to have 1 each day. And the last day is going to be wrapping up. So 7 days like that. Today was just, again, groundwork. This way we're going to build up.
Can you go back on the second last slide?
Sure. Where do you keep the...
Yeah.
Fine. So just to save time, what was the question regarding the second
Actually,
last?
I could not read it.
Oh, okay. All right. Get on to the second last.
This one?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one, right?
Yes.
5 subject matters. So Bhagavad Gita talks about 5 things. Jiva or the soul, who, why, how. Ishvara, God, who, why, how. Dealing between them is material nature, Prakriti. Then there is time, that people say, sabka ek time hota hai. You know, time. And finally the most important question in our life. Why do bad things happen to good people? Karma. So we're going to discuss all that. If a child is killed in the womb, usne kya kiya? You know, things like that. We're going to discuss all of that. So Bhagavad Gita talks about all 5 of them in great detail. Any more questions or comments?
So how would so today was introduction,
Right.
and then next 5 days are for going through each subject matter. And what would be the 7th day?
7th would be practical application of Bhagavad Gita. How we can imbibe all these 5 tattvas in our daily life, along with job, along with relationships, along with children. What are the things we could incorporate? It builds on. And to get, now the point is, chalo 7th pe jate seedha. But you won't understand the 7th till the time the 5 are covered. And trust me, these 5 are really interesting, especially karma. Because when you talk about karma, there are so many things which come up. You know, why bad things happen to good people, somebody die early. You know, you have an you have an Osama who did so much, he was still having money. And you have हम लोग सब सदमार्ग में हैं, but पैसा नहीं है उतना, you know, जितना Osama के पास था. And you have big people like Dawood Ibrahim. Why doesn't God punish them? Natural questions. So all of that will be covered. But to make it more interesting, I won't tell you which I'm covering next time. You know, so it's going to be guesswork. So we're going to cover all the questions and back in.
So the 5 topics are, what is that? Jiva, soul.
Jiva means soul, that is we. Ishvara means God. Does he exist, and if he exists, who he is? Prakriti or material nature. Why do we find tornadoes? Why do we find cyclones? Apart from the geographical reasons, what does the Vedas talk about? Tsunamis, earthquakes, karma. Why bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people. वो इतना सुखी है, वो इतना पाप करता है फिर भी सुखी है. I am living such a nice life and still I am suffering. I started chanting Hare Krishna and more suffering is coming. Why? You know. And of course, finally, Kala or time. What decides when we die? Time factor. Time that influences our life. Bhagavad Gita talks about all 5. I just condensed it topic-wise. Any more questions? So before we sum up, because we spoke about the Bhagavad Gita and the edition, this is the edition I'm talking about. It's a pocket-size Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada. It is in English. It has the original Sanskrit in such a way that the Sanskrit is written in English, so that Sanskrit padhne nahi aata hai, to English to padh sakte hain. Like for example, if you say asakta in Sanskrit, it is written as A-S-A-K-T-A. So you read it as asakta, you know. Each word, individual meaning, total meaning, and something called as the purport, which means the significance of that verse in this flow of discussion. When Krishna was speaking to Arjuna, why did he say this verse? How is it relevant? Prabhupada